Bro, where does oh my goodness, where does the state of basketball of UNC basketball stand? We're gonna find out on 94 feet of UNC.
Gordy to Black. The time, 18. Shot, Jordan! Michael Jordan!
Swicker with the defense and the rebound. That's a good effort by Swicker.
Stackout streaking in on Park. Rebound dunk is good, and he gets fouled by Park. Oh my goodness, what a dunk by Stackout.
Interesting that he brought him back so quickly, but you know what? They're down eight. In fairness, you can't teach that. You can't teach that. You can't teach that high-rising ability. Three. And Green rips down the rebound in traffic. 4-on-1. Great job. What a terrific job in transition. I mean, you could.
The glass no good. Rebound followed by hand throw. Good! Carolina.
Inside 30 overall. Love. Top of the key.
Alice about this over. Carolina. The Tar Heels have won the national championship.
And that is it. There is a new dean in college basketball. North Carolina takes the title. Happen any final. North Carolina is the 2009 national champion. And this year, the confetti is going to fall to North Carolina. They're not going to be denied this time.
What's up, everybody? It is Friday, August 30th. You are tuned in to the 94 feet of UNC podcast. I am your host, Linzel Graham. I got another special guest in the building with me today. He decided to take a few minutes out of his time and stop by the Zell Dome. Riley, this is the Zell Dome.
I figured as much.
Yeah, you know, I told Isaac about this a couple of days ago. So I was like, yeah, man, this is the Zell Dome. This ain't the Dean Dome. This is the Zell Dome. So, you know, it just kind of sticks for a little bit. I might change it up a little bit later. But before we get into it, like I said, I got my guy Riley Davis in the building. Before we get into it, make sure that you like, comment, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any content that I provide for you guys and bring to you. Because you never know who's going to stop in at the Zell Dome. Like, everybody knows this guy. Like, everybody knows this guy. If you don't, you're going to find out here in a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, Riley, what's up, my guy? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to, spoiler alert, a peek behind the curtain. It's not quite the weekend yet when we're recording this, but by the time they hear it, hopefully they'll be celebrating a Tar Heel victory on the football field. Shout out to Max Johnson / Connor Harrell. Who knows how that quarterback competition will actually shake out. But yeah, hopefully the Friday vibes will be immaculate by the time they hear it. But I am very honored to be here in the Zell Dome. So appreciate you having me on, man. I'm happy to talk a little Carolina hoops, chop it up for a bit.
Listen, man, it's an honor for you to be here. Like I said, man, just watching you, with Greg and Carter. Hey, listen, Greg, Carter, I got him today. All right. So fall back for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, stop ducking the smoke. Like, yeah, we got to talk, fellas. Like, for sure. Nah, but seriously, salute to you guys, man. Like, I'm an avid listener of the Sleepers Media, which I'm going to let Riley actually tell everybody where it is and what you do and what you got going on, man.
Yeah, appreciate that. So like Zell mentioned, I'm a frequenter on Sleepers Media. That's one of the outlets I'm a part of. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. I think the link is in the description, or just search Sleepers Media on YouTube. That's the best way to support us. We got daily shorts coming out on like college basketball news nationally. We got daily shorts coming out on college football news nationally, game recaps, previews as the season really kicks off this weekend, daily podcasts. And then I'm on every Friday, where usually college basketball focused, but maybe a little bit of college football sprinkled in. Just it's sort of the dog days of the college basketball offseason. There's not quite as much to talk about. Got to be pretty creative with that, but we do have a lot of fun on that show. And the whole with Card and Greg, man, those are my guys. Those are two of my best friends. It's hilarious to me. I have so many UNC fans that dude, you got to stand up to them. They're roasting you too much. They're roasting UNC. Why are they UNC haters? I've lost count of how many people have asked me why Greg hates UNC so much.
I'm one of them.
Okay, but what people don't realize is my guy Greg was in the 2022 Final Four. The dude was on the street holding up a sign trying to buy people's UNC jerseys. He was trying to buy UNC jerseys off of fans. It was sort of a bit. It was like his Twitter picture for a while. He rocked with us that season. Carter was a bigger believer in the heels than I was last year. Like you can go back and listen to Sleepers episodes from late summer, early fall. I was like, dude, this team is going to be mid again. I don't know what direction the program's heading in. Like, defense is going to be bad. Turns out I was stupid. They had a top 10 defense, but Carter rocked with the heels last year. I think they like to get a rise out of me, which sometimes I give into it. So it's easy to provoke me. So
it is what it is. But I can't let them keep attacking you like that, Riley. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like you step into the lion's den, and I'm outside the gate. Like let me in. Like they in there attacking my mans. Like I can't keep letting them do that. Like Greg, Carter, come on, man. Y'all got to relax a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But and listen, I'm glad you told me about the whole Greg trying to buy a UNC jersey. That's some ammo I'm gonna save for him a little bit later. Whenever I do get the chance to speak with him, like Greg, what's all of this about? Like, or whatever. Nah, but I love them guys, man. Like what you all do over there is incredible. Like, I think what I told you when we spoke, I told you like a lot of the games and things that you all play, just the fun, friendly games or whatever. But there's not enough of that in the podcasting world and in the podcasting space. If I'm not mistaken, you all are the first and only ones that do it. And I think that should be done more in podcasting because number one, it keeps content going. Number two, it's just friendly debates back and forth. So whatever the case may be. Number three, a lot of people seem to coddle sometimes to players, and they always talk about the positivity of those players or teams or coaches or whoever, but you never get into like the negative side of things about a person or team or player or whoever. Like Gripe Week is amazing. Like I listen, man. When I was sitting there listening to it, I'm sitting up there talking like, but no, he ain't said like this, and he did this, and yeah, I remember when he did that. And then I look at my phone, and I'm like, oh, I'm talking to myself. I'm not talking to the guy. So like I love that, man. Like I hope one day I can get on to be a part of Gripe Week because I got some people and teams and things like that I can also present to them guys and stuff as well. But I love what you guys do, man. Like I think that is incredible. So keep rocking out with that for sure.
Man, appreciate that feedback. And like you said, it's a lot of fun to come up with the different games, different segments you got to during the off season. So and sometimes we might critique programs, teams, fan bases. I like to say it's like 90% in good fun. So I just got to get ahead. Anybody who takes it too seriously, just know we're trying to have fun with it. We love chopping it up about sports, and we did like it's fun to just be with your guys and like poking fun at sports too. Like, let's just be real. Right. It's fun to to make light of it. And at the end of the day, it's nothing too serious, so.
Right. I get it. I got you. So Riley, before we get into our topics for today, right? So I got this list of greats, and I just want you. I want you to just sit back and just listen to these greats that's on this list, and you tell me what you think about this list when I get done with the names. All right. So real quick, Steven Tyler, Sting, King Charles, Billy Ray Cyrus, Elvis, Al Bundy, Archie Bunker, John Travolta in Grease. And then right up under that, Riley Davis. Like, all the greats is on this list. And Riley Davis is on this list for me. Like, I mean, what do you think about this list, man? Like, I mean, come on. To have you on this list right here, I thought it was amazing. Bro.
Is it something with the hair?
You know what? That might have been it, and that's where the John Travolta Grease one came from. I think, like he get the comb and he
Mm-hmm.
kind of rub it back and everything. Elvis, same way, but it's not so
Mm-hmm.
much of it's so much of the hair. I think it was just, you know what? These are just greats, and Riley Davis is on this list because he's a great. He's a great to me. Like
Hey, I appreciate that.
yeah, man. So I mean, what do you think about the list? How do you think I did? Do I get it? I mean, is grade A, grade B, grade C? Like, pretend I'm on sleepers for a second, I guess.
Okay, so let's see. Billy Ray Cyrus was kind of a one-hit wonder. He did have a nice mullet, though, so I like that. I like being on a list with him. John Travolta, like you said, John Travolta in Grease. The man had aura, as the kids would say. The man had a great head of hair with the comb. Steven Tyler's really the only one. So King Charles, are we talking Charles Barkley? Or are we talking like
Okay, royalty.
Okay. I don't know.
Royalty.
So, like,
You like how I went from King Charles to like Al Bundy, like like greats, man. These are greats, great. We can put Barkley on there if you want to replace him with King Charles. I mean, let's do that. Let's do that.
Steven Tyler's the only one who I'm not a big Aerosmith guy.
Me either. He's just still a great though. I mean,
Okay, I need to know the criteria for this.
I just said but before we did this, and I just sat back and I said, you know what? What can I do to just, because Riley's always in a good mood. I mean, he's always in a good mood. So I want to make sure that I keep him in a good mood. Like, and I don't want him to come on and feel no type of way or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what? Let me just do something a little bit fun. And I just said, I'm going to name some greats. I want to know what he thinks about it when I put his name at the bottom. It's on the list with him. It's not so much because it's at the bottom, but you read off all of these greats and then you see Riley Davis on there. Like, that should make a person feel really, 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 really good, right?
It's definitely got me feeling comfortable for sure. I might need you to throw someone ugly on there so I get a chip on my shoulder and can stay on the top of my game.
Okay, so who would you like for me to throw on there,
right? Man, who's someone who's just like ugly and or lame? I feel like there's probably some. If we wanted to go full hater level, you could throw like a Plumlee brother on there. Your Plumlee of choice. That would keep me motivated to where it's like, all right, you got me with some real greats, but now I can't like rest on my laurels. I gotta keep, ascending.
Okay, we can do that. Or what about Filipowski?
Yeah, Filipowski would make me be like, well, yeah, I kind of like that because it's like, okay, the negative sides of Filipowski, I don't want to be compared to that,
Right.
The court storming incident at Wake and the ensuing photo from that. However, if we are honest, man is 7 feet tall and has a bag low key. Like that shot fake is still lethal. I think he's a very offensively gifted player. So it's like, okay, good, but not great. Disappeared in too many big games. Was really good. I thought he was really good defensively his freshman year and struggled on that end last year. So it's like that's how you keep the chip on my shoulder. That's how you keep me striving for greatness.
Okay, so we'll throw Filipowski on there then.
Yeah,
and a Plumlee brother. How about that? We'll do
just one or the other. Just put just one. Just one or the other. We can't have. I don't need two Duke players on there.
Don't need two.
We can keep Flip on there. Yeah,
okay.
Great list.
I got
great list.
Okay,
solid
right.
A- list. A- list. I don't want to be great.
That works for me. That means I did my job. That means I succeeded. I did my thing or whatever. So I'm cool. I feel good. All right, Riley. Let's get into these topics or whatever. So we're gonna jump into something real quick. We ain't got to deep dive into it or whatever. But of course, on Tuesday, everybody knows about the news about Zayden High, and things like that. And like I said, we're not gonna delve into anything as far as things that have went on. That's personal business. That's him and the family and everybody else's business. It's not our job to really delve into that. I guess my question is, what what hopes did you have for Zayden this year, and how does Carolina how does Carolina adjust with him now not being in the rotation or on the team?
Yeah. I was a Zayden High believer.
Mhm.
This is probably my hottest take. I was ready to say, like, so I do the pod is the roof. That's my UNC specific podcast. I've been planning for like months to say like Zayden High is getting, my bold prediction is Zayden High will be the most productive player in the front court, or the most productive big man. And I
Yeah,
get it. He played like less than 4 minutes a game last year, averaged 0.8 points.
yeah.
I always went back to what he did at Compass Prep coming out of high school. Like, his archetype
Hmm.
was very much one where he's gonna set screens, he's gonna roll to the basket, he's gonna rebound, he's gonna defend, good weak side shot blocker. And he has some passing chops to boot. Like, I think he showed it more in high school. You could play him out of dribble handoffs a little bit. He can make reads off the short roll. I thought that
Right.
upside was there, and his shot was looking a lot better. And even in Compass Prep, he played with ball dominant guards like Victorious
Yeah.
Miller, who's at LSU. There's one other whose name is slipping me right now. But I'm like, this is kind of the way UNC's roster is structured. It's very guard and wing heavy, guard and wing dominant. And
Hmm.
he to me had the best ability to be that, or maybe I shouldn't say best ability. I think he had the highest upside to be that play finisher, to just get in there, do the dirty work, catch some lobs, score off of putbacks. And there's a 3-point shooting and the passing upside that I was really excited to see.
Yeah.
Some of that is like rooted in what I saw in high school. Some of it was rooted in blind optimism, because I decided last year watching him in the scrimmages that he was my guy because of the energy he played with and how much trash he talked. Like,
Sure.
all of that, I was like, I need this dude to be good. Even though
Yeah.
like on the court he was pretty bad. I can't hide that far. He struggled a lot on the court his freshman year.
Yeah.
With that being said, there was no guarantee that he would realize that upside this upcoming year. So on one end, I see the argument that's like, it's not a huge on the court loss. On the other end, like, I mean, no one listening to this is going to be strangers to the fact, like, UNC had a lot of misses in the
Right.
portal this offseason. They went after a lot of bigs, didn't get them. And I think even if there is like the minutes at the minute crunch at the 5, the competition at the 5, and I know Zayden can play some 4 as well. Maybe is even a more natural 4 than a 5. Like, I
Yeah.
know that might get crowded, but I just like having one more option, or like one more shot at a high upside guy, because all these
Right.
dudes are unproven. I get like Van Allen Lubin put up 12 points for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt won 9 games last year. 9 single digits. Like, they were getting dog walked in SEC games. And I
Yeah.
get he was productive, but it's tough to say he's proven he's proven he can stay on the floor in a power conference game. And like,
Yeah.
I think that's valuable. But at the same time, like, it's tough to say he's proven when his team was just getting like blown out night in, night out. And I think Vin can fit on this team as well. This is not meant at shade at him. I'm just the reality of the situation is, with so many unproven guys, I just would have
Hmm.
liked having one more shot at a guy who could be something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I think having that extra body is just it gives Coach Davis a little bit more room for flexibility,
Mhm.
being able to kind of pull from, okay, you go, okay, you go, you go, you
Right.
go, you go. Like, he had a lot of options. I still think he has some good options. I
Mhm.
do. I'm like you, like the the thing of losing and missing, not so much losing, but missing out on a lot of big men in the portal. Um, One thing that a lot of people don't seem to understand is that Carolina wasn't really going after a lot of the big men in the portal that people may think that they was going after. It's only like a few, like a hand. It's not even a handful. Like, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been like, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but it's probably what, 3 maybe at the most.
It's like
Now they was in
Cliff.
talks with a couple of them.
Yeah, Cliff and Adu were the big ones that I would say were like the true misses.
Yeah,
Onyenzo, I think like Onyenzo, I mean, they were pretty serious with Coleman Hawkins, and That's a big what if for me because I love Coleman Hawkins' game. I think he's not a true 5. Like UNC would still have defensive issues with him at the 5 because he's slight of
Right.
frame. But bro, I got to play at least what if for a little bit. You're telling me that like a lineup of Elliott Cadeau, RJ Davis, Ian Jackson, Drake Powell, and Coleman Hawkins wouldn't be like the best offense in the country? Like Coleman is a legit 37% shooter at 6'10", and the dude is an incredible passer. I think like the highlights we could have gotten of him throwing outlet passes or even both the flashy passing of him and Cadeau working in conjunction, that's what hurts for me a little bit. But yeah, they didn't cast the net. I don't think they cast the net super wide from the portal. And I think like, I'm not trying to steal reporting. I'll give credit where it's due. Like the Inside Carolina guys, I think they do a tremendous job covering the team. And they had a
Shout
report.
out
I
to
think
Joey in them. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And they had a report. I think it was Sherelle McMillan in like March or April. That was like UNC is looking for the wording was a game changer in the post, or at worst, someone they could platoon with Jalen Washington.
Right.
I think part of it is I don't blame any fan who's frustrated with it after missing. Like I think Cliff would have been a game changer in the post. I think Adu has some flaws because he's kind of slight of frame as well. I would have classified him as a game changer. I mean, it wouldn't like let's go back to March 29th when UNC loses to Alabama. If you told UNC fans the next day that the main big man they would add would be Van Allen Lubin, it's all about like if the narrative was, hey, UNC is really going all in on Jalen Washington, they want someone who can supplement him. I don't think any UNC fans would have problems with that. I think there'd be that trust in the coaching staff to say like, if you had that faith in Washington, like cool, bring in a guy who can back him up. But I think it was just the notion that they're going for a game changer in the post, which probably was the original plan, and it's okay. Like they missed, it didn't come to fruition. Got to make the most of it now. But yeah, I think that's probably what causes like a lot of the angst in the fan base.
So here's my thoughts on it. I think I wasn't really high on Adu. I wasn't. Cliff would have been solid if we would have got him. Out of the 3 that you had mentioned, I wanted Onyenso more than any of them because
I love Onyenso too. I think Onyenso would have been sick.
I think he would have been amazing. Like 7 foot. He's not a scorer, which we didn't need him for that because you get Onyenso in the paint. You got Washington. I don't know if Lubin would be there if we got Onyenso.
Right.
Claude certainly he wouldn't be there. We got Tyson, Powell, Trimble, Davis, Jackson, Cadeau. He would have had so many scorers around him where the only thing he would have had to do was just protect the rim and rebound. That's it. You don't have no offensive. We don't need you offensively. Like, I hate to say it like that, but we don't need you offensively.
You're there, like, hey, Elliott, have fun throwing lobs. Like, just put it up by the basket, and you got to do with a 7'5" wingspan who's going to finish it. Yeah, I think Onyenso would have been a tremendous fit. I get some of his offensive limitations, and that even like down the stretch for Kentucky, played a lot of single-digit games. But like the kid's not even, I don't know if he might not be 19 yet. I think he turns 19 this season. He's still super young. And again, like I'm a big proponent when we talk about this year's team. I think the best lineup is going to end up being the 4 guards. And I'm considering Drake Powell a guard for this exercise around whichever big can protect the rim and rebound the best. And even if you want to throw out another hypothetical, if that was Onyenso, I mean, you got Cadeau, RJ, and Ian who could be the bucket getters, and Drake and Onyenso are just getting to do what they do best and defend. And like, I mean, I think Drake Powell is going to be an elite defender. That's we don't have to. Again, I'll save this when we talk about this year's team. Drake Powell's already my second favorite player on the roster, and he hasn't even played a minute in the Carolina uniform. I love Drake Powell.
Yeah. So this is what I told Isaac, right? So when me and Isaac talked, I told Isaac, and because I don't know if a lot of people looked at what I thought about, right? So I told Isaac, I said, this is what Carolina should do. Number one, I love Drake Powell. I don't know if he's going to start. If he starts, that's fine. But now I've seen, of course, some posts have came out as far as like what the starting five is going to be what it's going to look like, the potential, whatever. But I don't know for sure. But the main thing that I told Isaac was this year when it comes to Jalen Withers, because one of the posts had him in as the 4. So I told Isaac, I said, listen, we don't need Jay Witt for offense. I want Jay Witt for defense. Like, to me, he is the most athletic on the team besides Trimble. He has the height. He's 6'9", about 6'9" or whatever. He's a high riser. He can get above the rim. He can block shots. He can do all of that. So make people have fear when they come into the paint, because now let him just come from out of nowhere and just float across the sky and block the shot, send it to the stand. I don't want to see Withers out there shooting 3-pointers. This ain't Louisville.
No, thank you.
Yeah, this isn't Louisville. Like they needed you to do that at Louisville because you was like maybe the first or second scorer on the team. Louisville sucked. We know that. Everybody knows that.
He was playing like the 2 guard at Louisville. That was the worst roster construction I think I've ever seen. They had 1 scholarship guard on the team.
Yeah,
how do you do that, dude? There's a reason. I mean, I know Kenny Payne is. I think actually Cal might have brought him on staff. I know he's probably never going to be a head coach again. But dog, how is it? It was 2023 and you had 1 scholarship guard.
Yeah, I didn't understand it. So, and I think that messed Jay Witt up last season because, he probably still had the mentality like, I'm trying to do kind of like what I did at Louisville, when really you don't have to do that at UNC. You don't have to do that here at Carolina. I need you. You don't have to be leaky black, but I need you on that leaky black, almost defender level.
Yeah.
I need you to lock down. Like you, Powell, and Trimble. Those are y'all are the 3 big defenders this year. Focus on that. So I think, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just gonna say with Withers, I think his role will be one of the most fascinating to follow because I think with the way this roster is constructed, I think he'd be best suited at the 5, where you're putting him in the dunker spot. Like he's best when he's cutting around the basket. He doesn't really need to be on the perimeter. You can run pick and pops for him occasionally. But I just think again, I'm envisioning it's tough for me to see a scenario where this UNC team is even like a top 25 defense. I think Armando was so important to the defensive success last year. Even if he wasn't like the most prolific shot blocker, I actually went back and watched like the first half of that Alabama game. I don't know why. I think I love Payne.
Obviously,
Armando was. I know Grant Nelson went crazy in the second half. Armando was an animal defensively that game. Like he was altering everything at the basket. He was getting steals. Like he was anchoring the paint, and that let Harrison use, that 7-foot wingspan to get steals. He was so good defensively. And I think without that, it just completely lowers the defensive ceiling. Now the offense can be better than it was last year. Defense, I struggle seeing that, but that's where I would say if you're not going to be an elite defensive team because of the personnel, lean into that athleticism, lean into the speed. And that's where I'm like, play your 4 guards with Withers at the 5 and just press teams, get out and run some more, throw some lobs. I don't know. I think that those could be some fun ways to utilize Withers.
Jay Witt has to get that animal dog mentality. Like he just got to, and he's just got to let it go. He needs that Zayden High, Harrison Ingram, Cormac Ryan edge to him. And I believe if he gets that, and Hubert just says, you know what, focus on defense this year. I want you on defense,
Mhm.
bro. He's gonna be a monster because he's a high riser. He's gonna send everything to the raft, to the stands. Like I mean, he just is. And if Carolina get out and run, come on, man. Elliott he's gonna lob that to him, and
Mhm.
he's gonna go up and get it and put it down. Like so, I just hope that he focuses on that this season because we have enough scoring. We have Elliott has stepped up. RJ is going to be RJ. Ian is going to be Ian. Drake Powell can put it out. Can put it in the basket. Cade can put it in the basket. Jay Wash can put it in the basket. Who I think is probably the best center that UNC has ever had. Now that's yet to be seen. But the reason why I say that is because Carolina's never had a center like him. Like, name me one center to where they've been able to step out and has a really good jump shot and can step out and pop the three, like, and hit 17 footers like that. Like, Carolina's never had one like that, to my knowledge. Now, I could be wrong. I could be missing somebody. Carolina's never had a big man that can do that, that has a beautiful shot, that shoots at a really good percentage. I mean, like, so his problem is agility. That's his problem to me, and he has to get a little bit more stronger. So we just, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough. It really is. Like I used to think, they went back in the days when they used to call us the wine and cheese crowd with Roy and all of that and stuff, and a lot of people used to say like, "Oh, well, the players play the same way that the people that they call the people wine and
Yeah.
cheese and all of that. Like they don't have no dog in them." And I thought that I thought that it would be a little bit different with Hubert coming in, but I don't know. I don't know if it's changed or not, and that's what this team needs. Like all of our teams, period. Go moving forward, we all need that dog, that animal. And that's the reason why Zayden was so important.
Mhm.
Because even if he wasn't going to play like that, he was there for his bench. And like being on the bench, basically, and being there for the players. Like
Mhm.
it was just so important and so vital. Like, and that's just going to be truly missed this year, man. And I don't know. But I do think that, what would your starting five be?
Probably Cadeau. I'm probably gonna. Oh, man, if I had to make a prediction right now on what's today's date? What day will people be listening to this?
The
August
30th.
30th.
Yep.
Cadeau, RJ for sure. Ian Jackson for sure. I don't think Ian Jackson's coming here to come off the bench. We didn't poach a kid from John Calipari to sit him on the bench.
Right.
I know he's probably going to struggle defensively. So did Cadeau at the start. Freshmen get better. That's the beauty of it.
Right.
Kid is a bucket. Kid is a pro. And I think he's probably a better off-ball player than people realize too. So
Yeah.
I think that Ian Jackson's your starting three. I would lean Cade Tyson at the 4. I know Drake Powell's only 6'6". He's listed at 195 pounds. I wouldn't be surprised if it. I know I've been gassing up that lineup with playing him at the 4 for like your closing lineup, but like I just don't know. People like maybe Carolina fans do. I don't think national like people who cover the sport nationally realize what a special defender he is.
Yeah. He's
Like
solid.
he might be a better perimeter defender than Seth. My comp for him
Yeah.
is Stephon Castle from UConn this past year. And I know
Mhm.
Castle was a top 5 pick. Bleacher Report mock has Drake Powell at 5 right now, so it's not that far fetched. I think Castle's probably a better ball handler and a little more of like that like point wing, like true point wing type. I think Drake has that upside. Like if you watch his EYBL tape, he's making
Yeah.
reads out of ball screen. Like he can do stuff. It's funny when you mention Withers as the best athlete on the team. I'm like, I might have to send you some Drake Powell footage because that man
Yeah.
can elevate.
Yeah, you're gonna have to, man. You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to.
Because Drake can get up there.
Yeah.
And then at the 5, I do think it'll be Washington. I'd say there's an outside shot. Lubin gets it just because, with Washington, it's like you see the flashes. Like you were saying, there's so much potential there. You see the flashes with like that silky face-up game. The shot looks great. It's just so unproven. He's only played more than 15 minutes 3 times in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Like I would have thought he'd at least get a couple more. The only time he played more than 15 minutes this past year was against Charleston Southern. So I want to see it against like the starting units. Even so, I mentioned watching that Bama game. He had a really nice block on Sam Walters in the first half. The only problem is Sam Walters is a backup who just transferred to Michigan and he's coming off the bench for them. Like he played well against second units. I just want to see how he can do it, like handling the physicality against starting caliber centers. He's got crazy opportunity in front of him. And that's why I think Lubin can maybe, if Lubin is more ready, because Lubin's just got a lot more reps. I know I dogged on Vanderbilt earlier, and I'm not backing down from that. But that's where if Hubert wants to lean on the experience of Lubin, I could see that being the case too.
The thing is, the thing what I tell people about Lubin is what is he's 6'8", 6'9"?
He's listed at 6'8".
So he's big. He's big. I will say that, and they do have him at the 5 for one of the lineups that I saw. I think it was RJ, Elliott, Ian, Lubin, and Withers. Those were the starting 5. That's one lineup that I seen, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was from matter of fact, let me look at that, because I'd seen that today.
I know Borzello on ESPN. Borzello has Cade Tyson at the 4, Lubin at the 5 as a projection.
This was from Rothstein.
Oh, I don't really trust Rothstein, low key.
Enough said.
Can I tell you why like a Withers and Lubin front court terrifies me?
Please.
Withers,
I want to hear this.
Withers, it's the turnovers. We saw that a lot last year. Lubin, it's like the lack of passing. Like his assist numbers at Vanderbilt are insanely low. And it's not even the fact like his guards stunk. Like that's where I'll give Lubin like if you watch some Vandy film last year, there are times where there's literally 5 dudes in the paint every time Lubin catches the ball on the block. So I'm like, all right, I'll let Vin Allen slide a little bit here. Like that's actually pretty impressive. I know I just hated on like his team getting dog walked as he put up 12 points a game. But he put up 12 points per game.
It's the truth, Riley. We speak the truth over here, so you good.
But like when you put 5 guys in the paint, I'll give you some more credit, even if your team's getting destroyed. Like, good numbers in the SEC. But I believe the synergy number is something like 1.5 points per possession when Lubin passed out a post up. So like when he posted up and passed out of it, it usually worked out pretty well. But that's where I worry about like I guess kind of just the feel, the processing. If you have both those guys in the front court of, when you combine the turnovers and like the sort of lack of passing acumen, that I struggle to see that pairing being tenable. I think you probably either want to play. I think you want to play either of those guys next to Cade, so you have that floor spacing, or alongside Drake Powell, where you have a guy who can put the ball on the deck. And I know Drake's 3-point shot is improving. We'll see how it translates, but yeah.
Let me ask you this: do you see a world where Tyjon Claude could start?
I don't know about start. I could see a world where, again, if he's because Tyjon is like, I don't think he has a crazy wingspan.
Riley.
But
see him starting.
Tyjon's kind of a dog, and he got the Kobe White endorsement. Like his rebounding numbers in the ACC aren't nothing. I think he's a legit rebounder.
Sure.
And again, can he be that type who just like what UNC we talked about it with Ugano and Yenzo. What UNC needs the most at the 5 is a dude who's gonna dunk, who's gonna catch lobs, who's gonna score off putbacks, and who's gonna block shots, and who's gonna rebound. I don't know if I classified Tyjon as like an above the rim player, but he's not a bad athlete. And like the rebounding numbers are good. He can block some shots. And I do like, I love how hard he plays. I think he's got a crazy motor.
I'll say this, right? Like, and it's crazy because I forgot who I was talking to, but I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I told them because I'm old school. So I grew up with I'm a Knicks fan, right? So I grew up with the Charles Oakleys, the Charles Smiths, Patrick Ewings, John Starks, thugs, Anthony Masons, all of them, right? The Knicks would always put Anthony Mason. Now, Anthony Mason wasn't tall, but he was huge. I mean, strong. Like, he was like a brick wall. But they used to put him on Olajuwon, Robinson, Shaq, Alonzo Mourning. They used to have him guarding the 5. And the reason why is because of him being so strong, he would push everybody around. And you're not just moving Anthony Mason out of the way. You're just not doing it. I don't care who you are and how big you are, because he's just as big. He's just not tall. But he would wear them centers down, like to where they was coming out of the game. And it was like bully ball a little bit or whatever. I think that's what Tyjon is. 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", 230, big body. His IQ for basketball is high, because when you can lead the ACC in offensive rebounds and you're 8th in the minutes on your team at Georgia Tech, that means you coming off the bench and you're not getting a lot of minutes like that, but you lead the entire conference. That says a lot about your IQ, not more so of your game, but your IQ for the game. And I think he can. I think Hubert can use that. Like, you putting him up against somebody like Ballo, I think he can push Ballo around a little bit. I really do. Make him tired. Yeah.
Push Cliff around against Bamo in that game. We'll see what happens there. Also, you want to take a guess at Anthony Mason's peak NBA stats? Dude was a hooper. He's an underrated hooper. In 1997, for the Charlotte Hornets, he averaged 16 points, 5.7 assists, 11.4 rebounds a game, with a steal for good measure. That's quite the
Riley knowing his facts right there. Like, wait a minute, Riley, let me find out. You a Knicks fan or something?
No, I just Googled it. I was just looking at his career stats, and I was like, dang. Because, I remember him being on the Hornets when I was a kid growing up, and remember him being like one of the best players, but to be honest with you, don't really remember watching him at all. So I had to do a little quick deep dive. Okay, he's from Queens, New York. Are you from Queens? I know you're a New York guy.
I am a New York guy, but I'm not from Queens. Brooklyn.
Okay. Brooklyn. Got you. That's what's up.
Yeah. So, but it is what it is. Brooklyn, stand up. BK, Biggie, Jay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, they got the. Yeah, I like Queens though. I like Queens. I like Queens rappers and everybody. Some of the guys over there. A lot of the guys over there, actually.
Are we gonna have to go off on a tangent and talk a little New York rap?
Nah, you don't want to go that route, Riley. You don't want to go that.
All right. Well, at least let me know out of Biggie, Hove, and Nas, who's your favorite?
Out of Biggie, Nas, and who?
Jay-Z.
What are we basing it off of? Lyricism or what?
Oh man, I would say that's
because we got to also
I would say Nas lyrically is unmatched.
For sure. That's the reason why I asked. What are we basing it off of? Are we going off of like popularity or like what?
Who do you? Okay, because for me, if I were to give them all their due, I would say Nas is lyrically the best. No one's touching him. Jay-Z, entertainment, success, like just what he's done for rap in general. But then with Biggie, you got to give him credit as the Godfather, because even Jay-Z said, "I'm not a writer, I'm a biter for my brother Big." Like
Right.
it's that's where it's like you got to have Biggie his credit there. So let's put this criteria. If you're like driving in your car, you pull up Spotify or Apple Music, your streaming service of choice, and you're gonna throw on an album just like for fun to listen to of those three. Which one are you selecting? Like just for your own personal enjoyment, your favorite to just turn on and let it rock.
Taking a road trip.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm not listening to Nas.
Just not you're not in like a lyrical type mindset.
No, yeah, not when if I'm taking a road trip. Like I
That's
apparently
fair.
you know, or whatever. Even though I do think Nas is lyrically is better than both of them, but road trip wise, I'm gonna probably have to go with Hov.
I think that's the correct answer. I probably picked The Blueprint if I had to select one album. I mean, you got Heart of the City on there, you got Izzo, and it starts. I mean, Take Over. Throw some shots. If you want to talk about getting that chip on your shoulder, just throw Take Over on.
Yeah. But Hov got he got a lot of albums that I could throw on. But Blueprint for sure. The Black Album, Reasonable Doubt. Blueprint 3, which I thought was amazing. A lot of people didn't like it. I don't know why, but Blueprint 3 was amazing to me. I like the Dynasty album. So the Rock Familia album.
Yeah. With This Can't Be Life. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm putting Hov on. I'm putting Hov on for a road trip. Yeah.
We can get back to basketball, but I at least had to ask you. I'm like, if we're talking about Brooklyn and Biggie and Jay-Z, I at least had to get off on that tangent for a second.
Yeah, I got you. That's good, Riley. I listen. It might have to bring you on every week, man. We might have to kind of flip this thing up or whatever. Like, hey, Greg, Carter, y'all got to move over. Like, I need some time with my guy, man. Like, for sure. Like, come on, man. Y'all hogging all of the time up. Like, what's going on around here, man? Greedy, selfish. But okay. So, all right. Let me ask you this: what do you think about NIL in basketball in college? Like, do you? I guess the question is, because we hear talks about AJ Demanza possibly could get $4 to $5 million from BYU, which I think is insane. What do you think about the NIL? Do you think that it's ruining college basketball, or do you think that it's good, or like?
It's hard for me to say it's ruining the sport because I think players have been getting paid for forever. It's just like it's public now. Personally, I kind of wish UNC would be a little more brash because it's UNC. You know, you got money, spend it. I would like for it to be known that like, oh yeah, UNC, we take care of our guys. We go out and get like, we're not afraid to spend, but I know they want to keep it very private, which I think sort of checks out to just the way Carolina has operated for a long time.
Right.
You know, I definitely think when you look at the amount of money coaches, like the typical arguments, the amount of money coaches make, the amount of money the sports revenue definitely makes a lot of sense for players to get a piece of the pie. As far as the sustainability of it, I know some folks are like, oh, there's no way this is sustainable. Which maybe it's not. On one hand, you could look at our guy Coleman Hawkins is making a lot of money. That's what's been reported. It's all alleged. None of it is like official, but we've seen the numbers thrown out of over $2 million. Ugonna Nyenzo, his front court mate, who Carolina also recruited, rumored to be in that ballpark as well. K-State spent a lot of money on this roster, and I think they're like still a fringe top 25 team. So I think Jerome Tang's a good coach. I think like even his first year in the Big 12, that K-State team that made the Elite Eight, I believe, he was coaching circles around a lot of them dudes. So there's a very good chance he elevates this roster and they succeed. There's also
Right.
a chance, like it's sort of a weird roster construction. They got a ton of front court players, not much guard depth. Like if that crashes and burns and they miss the tournament again, I'm curious to see, like, do these boosters who just funded this roster, do they say the return on investment is not good, I'm pulling back, or do they say, oh, we just need to give even more money to get even better players? Because I've heard both sides of it, and I'd probably lean more towards the side of like boosters are going to have their money and they're going to want to keep taking shots at it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Do,
yeah,
you think it should be regulated?
probably. I have no idea what that looks like. And because if different leagues have different salary caps,
Right.
I mean, as a Carolina fan, I don't want it regulated because the ACCs is going to be lower than the Big Ten and the SECs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But why not regulate it towards the school itself, not the conference?
I guess that'd be something. Yeah, I didn't really thought about that. But what's the incentive for the school to regulate it? Because if you're BYU and you got the owner of the Utah Jazz who's giving you blank checks to get AJ DeBanza, to get Yegor Diamin, the Russian kid who's getting paid. That kid's special, by the way. He's one of the guys I'm most looking forward to. Cannon Catchings, he's like a top 50 kid who's just getting paid by BYU. If you're the owner of the Utah Jazz, like why would you want your school to, or I guess if you're the coach at BYU, Kevin Young, who has the connection with the owner of the Jazz, if your school tries to regulate, I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, we got BYU in a spot it's never been before. Like, we're getting 5 stars left and right. Don't put any regulations on it, you know? That's where I think it's going to have to come from, either conferences. Probably conferences themselves, because I can't say the NCAA is not going to do anything. I think the NCAA is pretty much powerless at this point.
Yeah, but see, if you do it by the conference or whatever, then that means Carolina and Duke is going to suffer, which we all know Carolina and Duke. Well, Carolina, I don't want to talk about Duke, but we all know Carolina got money. Like I don't understand why people keep saying and keep thinking that Carolina don't have money. That is just been crazy to me. I think, and this is just me, and I could be wrong, but I don't think it's. I mean, we know, me and you, we know, because we know how we are as being a part of the Carolina family. Like we base things off of morality, dignity, integrity, and things like that. And Hubert is a firm believer of those things. So I don't see where Hubert is going to say. I can see Hubert saying, I don't want a player to come here because only for the money. I want a player to come here because they're coming here for the name on the front of the jersey. Like, and that's the way that we've always been. If we wanted to, we could have paid Coleman Hawkins. I think so. We could have paid Onyenzo. We could give the Bansa the money that's floating around out there if we wanted to. It's Carolina. Like, I just don't understand. I don't think it's about money. But at some point, I think Hubert might have to start throwing some dollars out there. Like I do, because nowadays these teams and these coaches are so much savages now, man. Like they throwing other coaches under the bus. Like so it's like, yo,
yeah,
you're gonna have to sink or swim.
Man, this is where I like with some of it. I think Huber understands that. Like, he's insanely competitive. You can see it on the court and everything. Yeah. I know he's pretty reserved to media. I don't think he's just not a very like public person with all of it. To where I even think when you look at, again, Carolina doesn't make any of this stuff really public knowledge. But you look at someone like Jeremy Roach, who leaves Duke, the number that's thrown out is $1.2 million that Baylor gave him. I think it's safe to say RJ's making at least that. When you look at it's the best guard in the sport, or take your pick at the top two, him or Mark Sears. I can't imagine that he wouldn't be making around that. I am curious. To be honest, I just don't know what exactly the whole philosophy is, or even the ins and outs of it. Yeah. I honestly can't speak on it, but I just hope. I think I will say, like, I think there is for sure money to be had based on the fan base, based on boosters, based on the donors. I also wouldn't fault any Carolina fans who are a little bit frustrated just with like recruiting and wondering like how good is the NIL in actuality? Could it be better? Could it be improved upon? Just because again, a lot of it's kept private. And when you look at some of the transfer portal misses or kind of the Jasper Johnson recruitment getting away from UNC, and I mean, maybe who knows what's going to happen with AJ Devonta or like Koa Pete or Caleb Wilson. Like I think all those dudes are going to have a hefty price tag. Yeah, well, I think this upcoming recruiting class will maybe give us a little more to infer from like what is Carolina's philosophy and how are things actually looking in the NIL department, because at some point you just got to win one of these recruitments. I think the fan base needs a morale boost. The program needs a morale boost.
Yeah,
I want to get excited about a 5-star coming in. I'm not gonna lie to you.
yeah, I do. I do too. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we get AJ. I really, and that's not from. Listen, I haven't talked to anybody. That's not from Intel resources or anything like that. That is Linzel saying that. But
You just got a gut feeling.
I really do. I really do think we get AJ. I'll tell you why. BYU has been talking to AJ since the Flintstone days. Like they've been talking to him forever. They threw the money at him a long time ago. If that was the case and that's what it was all about, he would have accepted on the spot. So let's say they offered him $5 million, and we don't know, but hypothetically, they offered him $5 million, but they've been talking to him for months. They've been talking to him before the summer or whatever the case may be. But now AJ Debansa is on Kansas State campus this weekend coming up. Like he's on campus. He's taking visits. So my thing is, bro, you already know the rest of these schools is not going to give you that. I don't think
That's a
no
good
other
point.
schools on that list is going to give him $5 million. I don't care who it is. Nobody is giving him $5 million except BYU. But if that's what they want to do, then fine, go ahead and do it. But he's taking all of these other visits. So
That's
he's
actually
it's,
I hadn't thought about it from that angle. Like, for one, I wouldn't underestimate Bill Self. Bill Self is like
Riley. Self ain't giving $5 million.
Yeah, Self is a freaking killer.
Ain't
though,
no school out there giving $5 million to no player that's only going to be there for a few months. I'm sorry, but BYU, who are idiots for wanting to do that. That's fine.
I mean, my co-host Greg has been saying that he thinks it's a red flag that a school's going to spend, at least, even if you have a $10 million budget, which would be on the higher end for this upcoming offseason. I don't think any school, maybe Arkansas had a $10 million budget this past year. That's half your budget right there on one player, which is kind of insane. That's a fair point. I'm just not underestimating Bill Self because I think he's a killer, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow finds a way to cobble up some money. I think, okay, I'll give you this. For one, I don't want to get my hopes up for AJ Debansa because I don't want to be let down. That's part of my emotional hedge. Secondly, if I can give some Carolina fans optimism, I don't think AJ Debansa will be doing a UNC visit, would be scheduling a visit if they were broke. Because AJ Debansa is going to get paid. So there's your reason for optimism there, that there is money to be had from Carolina's NIL collective.
And it's Carolina.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe he gets on campus and something flips. I'm excited for some of these visits, man. Like, I think it's next weekend. Who's visiting?
For the next few weeks, with the next month or so, just about pretty much, right? All the way up to the end of September.
We got Nick Kamania coming on campus the weekend of September 6th.
Yeah, that's next week.
Yeah. and he low key plays like Harrison Ingram and has a little bit of Brady Manick in his game. And he's got that. I was telling one of my friends, he's got the Harrison Ingram dunk package, as in he's not all that athletic, but he might be a dog. And I want Nick Kamani in Chapel Hill.
Like, he can get about 2 feet off the ground. Like, you know,
he got that. He's got that Harrison Ingram dunk package.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the visits they have line up, I just hope things can change quickly in recruiting. You close on one of these dudes, it opens the floodgate. So
let me, out of everybody, out of the recruits, your top 3 that you would want, who would it be?
Okay, so I'm gonna take DeBanza out of the running here because he's like, of course, everybody wants DeBanza.
Okay,
so
fair
I
enough.
think like if you're excluding DeBanza, man, my top 3, I really want Nico Bundalo, just because that's the type of 4 who thrives in Hubert's system. He's 6'9", 6'10", has a good looking shot. He can do a little bit off the bounce. And everybody I've talked to who's like covered hoops at the grassroots levels, they rave about his personality. They rave about like his on-court competitive fire. From a media perspective, that's the kind of kid who I want to cover, who I want to interview. And then you have like the on-court upside as well. Really want Nico. Probably a Caden Lewis. Okay. If you're assuming Jasper's going to Kentucky. I wasn't really a Caden believer early on because I think he's listed at 6'2", 6'3". He's a little slight of frame, but his scoring, like his bag is crazy. And he's a really good passer too. I wouldn't say he's like as natural of a point as Elliott. Like I think he has a tendency sometimes to maybe go ISO when you want to see him get his players involved more, his teammates involved more. But I think you can coach that up and get him at like the second half of his freshman year. You have him operating as like a true floor general. The number 3, gosh, I would go there's still Caleb. I love Caleb Wilson. I love Koa Pete. Again, those sort of feel like givens because they're the bona fide 5 stars. I'm going more like the under the radar guys. Because if it was just like whoever, my top 3 would be like Caleb Wilson and AJ DeBanza, and get those 2. And I'm not complaining about UNC basketball for 5 years. 2 years. I'll find something to complain about, but I'm a big fan of Eric. I'm a big fan of Eric Reeby just because he's a true 7-footer. He's got a nice looking shot. Not a lot flashy about his game, but he's just so offensively skilled. And at like the NBA, I think it's like the NBA Players Association top 100 camp earlier this summer, dude was a double machine, just putting up like 25 and 12 games like it was nothing. And again, you watch him play, it's nothing too flashy. He's just ridiculously productive. But where are you at with some of these guys? Who do you have your eyes on?
So of course we'll take DeBanza out, which I think I will say this about DeBanza, and then I get off of him. I think his top 2 schools is going to come down to either Carolina or Auburn. I'll throw that out there.
It's a good prediction. I know. I mean, I believe Auburn's got some money to spend, so had some success with pros.
I believe it's going to come down to one of those 2. Away from DeBanza, I think we're out on Koa Pete. I do think I still think that we get Jasper.
I think Jasper's going to Kentucky. I think that one's done.
I don't know, man. I don't know because my thing is, why make the announcement like that? Like he's supposed to. A lot of people don't know that Jasper over the summer took quiet visits to UNC. Now I don't know if I was supposed to just say that and put that out there, but I mean it's out there now. But he took some quiet visits to UNC over the summer that was off the radar, basically. And a lot of people don't know that. So look at what happened with Ian. We snatched Ian right from up under Calipari because Ian was going to Kentucky. And he turned around and all of a sudden he came to Carolina. And I just think I still see that. Not to mention he was at the Carolina Duke game with Caleb Wilson. You can't tell me he sees a better environment than Duke and Carolina.
Yeah.
Like you just can't tell me that. Like, I mean, so I don't know. I think Alabama might be out of the picture now. If it is anybody, it's between Carolina and Kentucky now, I think. But I think he's coming to Carolina. I really do. Some other ones, if we get Jasper, we not getting a Caden. They talking about him going to Duke. I don't. I like Caleb. Let's see. You got Bundalo. You got Native Mint is not coming. Amen. He's not coming.
I'll be curious to see if we can get Amen on campus. But yeah, I bet he ends up at Duke. But
yeah, I think man, that's gonna be crazy if he go to Duke with the Boozer twins.
don't sleep on Miami with the Boozers, though. Don't sleep on Miami.
I think they go into Miami though, but
I hope. But I'm also like, man, how are you Carlos Boozer's kids not going to Duke?
Yeah, right. Because Duke gonna lose a lot, man. They're gonna lose a lot after this year. They're gonna lose a lot. So it's gonna open up the floodgates for players. They're gonna lose a lot. A lot of them guys are one and done for sure. So I'm with you. I'll probably go Bundalo, Nico.
I think he would just be, I think he'd be just a star. Maybe not right away, but I think he'd be a fan favorite who grows into that. So, that's the one of the official visits who I'm like really looking forward to seeing how that one goes. Because he's the one who he called.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Nico called Carolina his dream school a year ago. He said that was the offer he wanted. He grew up a Carolina fan because his mom's from Chicago and likes Jordan. That was like an On3 Jamie Shaw article from a year ago. Like, bro, let's close this. Get on campus. And I know, once again, Bill Self is lurking. We got to wrap that up. We need to wrap that up before Kansas could really make an impression.
Hurley is lurking, too.
Hurley is lurking. I'm still not scared of Mark Pope. I know he's got a little momentum right now. But yeah, there's some good coaches we're gonna have to beat out for Nico. But yeah,
and listen, you get Nico this year, you bring in Mika next year.
Let's go. I freaking love Mika. Mika's a freaking stud, dude. That kid plays like Cooper Flagg. I'm not afraid to say. I'm sure Duke's gonna pitch him on that, but he plays like Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
He's nice, dude.
You know what? I'm glad. Speaking of Cooper Flagg, let me just ask you this real quick, and we'll try and like wrap it up or whatever. Let me ask you this about do you think, because I've been catching a lot of flack for this, like a lot of people have hit me up.
I saw the clips though.
Okay. So you know where I know what's coming, but I'm not afraid to say it. I ain't what Bernie Mac say. I ain't scared of none of you. I ain't scared of you. So, do you think Cooper Flagg is overrated?
I apologize, Tar Heel Nation, but no, I do not. I think Cooper Flagg is nice, and I think I don't know what this. Do I need to send you the clips of him like taking AD off the bounce and draining threes over him? Like, the kid might just be special. I think the defensive flashes. You're not the only person I know. Like, I know some people who have watched him throughout his Montverde career, who think he's really, really good, but don't think he's going to be like a big time scorer. Like that's been talked about. Like, I think that would be the detraction, but they still aren't taken away from him being like a number one prospect. Man, like On one hand, like the contrarian side would say Derek Queen was the leading scorer at Montverde. Also, Derek Queen was meant to play for Roy Williams. That you want to talk about like a big with just like incredible footwork in the post.
Yeah.
Kind of an old school feel to him. I'm like, man, Roy Williams would have been all over Derek Queen had he still been coaching. Derek Queen was the leading scorer for Montverde. I think Cooper was second on the team, but it's just the defensive tools that I think like the instincts, the shot blocking. I mean, the physical, the gifts as well, where he's 6'9" with assuming I actually don't know what his wingspan is. It looks over 7 feet or somewhere in that range. And I think he has legitimate like point wing upside as like a passer and playmaker. He's really good at making reads out of ball screen. His shot looks funky. I think his shot does look a little wonky, like even like his elbow. I'm not a shot doctor by any means. My jumper's broken. If you ever play with me, it's very streaky. But every once in a while, I can make a couple few, and people start calling me a shooter, and that gets me walking with a little extra swag. But that's not really my game.
Right.
But yeah, I think his shot looks a little bit funny, and that's probably my biggest question mark. Can he be like a 33% shooter his freshman year? But I kind of think his stat line, I don't think it's gonna be like a Zion type impact where it just felt like I don't think I'll ever be more scared of a Duke player than I was Zion. He just had that. There was like an inevitability about him where it's like, dude, he could just get a bucket whenever he wanted to, and it sucked to cheer against him because you knew whenever he just put his foot, whenever he put his head down, he was getting a bucket or he was getting fouled.
Who I didn't know was actually who I didn't know was going to Carolina until like a week ago, and then
Zion?
he chose.
Yeah, I thought he was going to Carolina too.
He was the lock, actually. Like he was the lock, and then Jeff Capel and Coach K came in and swooped him right up from up under us or whatever, bought him a house and all of that and stuff or whatever. So
I mean, at least we had a good season that year, but there would be a 2019 championship banner if Zion and Kobe White played together and Cam Johnson. Don't get me started on that. That team was so fun. I freaking love that team. But yeah, with Coop, I get the pushback that maybe he won't be that prolific of a scorer, but I think he's going to average like 17 a game, probably get you 7 or 8 rebounds, 1.5, 2, maybe like 2 assists. Like he's going to have the ball in his hands a ton, I think. So no, that's the explanation of why I think he's properly rated.
You don't think he's overhyped? I think he's overrated and overhyped. I don't care. Like they've been coming at me in comments and on posts and in my DMs and everything, man. They've been coming at me. I don't care. It don't bother me.
I move in silence. I bookmark a lot of Duke fan tweets. And listen, there is a chance that UNC gets swept this year in that series. Duke has a really, really talented roster. I'm a big fan of Concanoople. I'm a big fan of Darren Harris, who's like their 11th man. I'm a big fan of Kamen Maluwash. I think he's raw, but that the height, the athleticism, and wingspan probably going to make a big impact. So yes, I have to acknowledge as a Carolina fan, I think their roster has more talent than UNC's. That's usually the case if you look at NBA, like NBA potential and stuff. So that's where you got to give that caveat that Carolina can still win those. Carolina, like this time last year, I thought Carolina was going to get swept by Duke, and UNC ended up being the ones doing the sweeping. So who knows what happens? I might never get to go back and like petty like some of these tweets that I've bookmarked. But I got to keep receipts just in case. But yeah, that's I will say I think Duke fans they do a lot of talking this offseason for a team that got swept. Like after UNC got swept last year, I kept a low profile. And I get they're excited about the roster, but like you got to see the product on the court before you're just popping off about how much better you are than Carolina.
Yep, I totally agree.
The rational Duke fans will tell you that. I'm just saying. I'm going to give credit some to their fan base, so like they don't come. They might still come after me, but the rational Duke fans will admit that. But yeah.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry, Riley. We got some things lined up or whatever. I got some things lined up for us to talk to a couple of people in the future. So don't you worry about that. We definitely gonna make that happen for sure. So Listen, Duke has a good team. I think Flagg is overrated. Again, I think Flagg is overrated. I think Flagg is overrated. Listen, I'm not changing my stance. I think he's overhyped. And look, I'll say this. Name the last player that had this much hype around him that is potentially the number one pick in next year's draft that turned out to be a flop. Or
Ooh.
not even that was a flop, but succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
Name me one player that went number one in the draft that had all of this hype around him that has been successful. You can't give me Zion.
Yeah, Zion didn't have that much hype because Zion was like the 8th player ranked in his class. Oh man,
Zion had a lot of hype. He went number one. He had a lot of hype.
Oh, I would say like coming out of high school, like Zion was ranked eighth in the class. Like he didn't have the same. He was hyped because of the highlights at Spartanburg Christian or whatever. But at the same time, it was like, dude, you're dunking on 5'7" white kids. Is this guy that good? And then he was special. But man, look at the last couple of classes. Yeah. So are you talking about a guy with this much hype coming out of high school who was successful?
Nah, well, Cooper Flagg is projected to be number one next year in the draft. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying from college to the pros.
I mean, you got to give credit to Paulo's been pretty good so far.
But even I do always forget Paulo. I do always forget Paulo.
Paulo's nice, dude.
But did Paulo go one? He didn't go one.
No, Paulo went one. It was him 1, Chet 2, Jabari Smith 3.
That's right. Okay, you're right. But
Anthony Davis, he's probably another one.
He's not a superstar.
You don't think AD's a superstar?
No, I'm talking about Paulo.
Oh, I think he'll get there though. He's only 2 years in the league.
Just so we know, I'm not gonna jump outside of the Duke brotherhood. So no Anthony Davis. Give me Duke players that has been success. Matter of fact, Riley, I'm gonna make it easier for you. Besides, because you ain't got but 3 in the NBA right now, if you ask me. And
Tatum,
we're gonna take
Zion, Kyrie.
Yes, Kyrie, Tatum, and Paulo. Or did I leave somebody?
Zion, but I guess if you want to say like he's been injured a lot, he's
yeah. We ain't talking about Zion. He's out of here. He's out of here. Like, we not talking about him. Besides them 3, what Duke players have really went and became successful in the pros? Think about all of the greats that Duke has had. Grant Hill stayed injured.
Mm-hmm.
Elton Brand. He came in the league and disappeared. I don't know what happened to Elton Brand. What happened to Corey Maggette? You haven't seen
Bobcats legend Corey Maggette.
He came in and went. Corey, who was it? Corey Maggette.
Gerald Henderson. That was the other Bobcats.
Gerald Henderson.
JJ.
Where did he go? Who?
JJ Redick. Was another just role player. I'm just naming role players. I'm not saying superstar.
Role player. Right. I was just getting ready to say role player.
Yeah. I think like
Brandon Ingram.
Okay, now let's talk like the one and done era, like Jabari Parker flamed out. Brandon Ingram's fine, not a superstar. Yeah, I think
just proved my point.
the superstars will be Kyrie, Paulo. Paulo was on the verge of superstardom. I will say with Paulo, dude, I hated Paulo at Duke. Like with a lot of these one and dones, I don't think you get to know him enough to truly harbor that same like
right.
you know, the vitriol you feel against the 4-year guys, and especially the ones who have a tendency of like beating Carolina. Tyus Jones made me feel some type of way with that, I will say, even though he was one and done. That dude was a killer, and he got the better of Carolina twice, and he won a national championship, which makes me sick, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
That was also when I was in school, so I have like a special hatred for that Duke team, that 2015 team. Like, man, I can't stand the Jones family. Matter of fact, like Trey caused UNC a lot of heartbreak too.
Yeah.
Dang, I guess Jahlil Okafor's another dude who went top 3 and flamed out.
Austin Rivers.
But yeah, they have had some guys flame out. But with Paulo, again, like he like reignited some of that hatred for Duke in me. But I have to give him his respect that like dude is literally playing for the Magic, the Orlando Magic.
No,
the bum Magic. And he like looks like a budding superstar.
Listen, I said Kyrie, Tatum, and Paolo. The superstars, Kyrie and Tatum. Paolo on the verge,
and when you put it that way, that is where I would be a little bit nervous to put Cooper in that camp. I think there's a chance he gets there for sure. I think you at least got to acknowledge he's got the potential to be that good. But yeah, that's where I would give you some credit and some credence to maybe a little bit of hesitancy, saying like, I don't know if he's going to get to the Tatum, Kyrie, Paulo level.
I just don't. I don't know. Well, number one, I hope he don't bust out a shoe. Let's make sure we say that, because
we don't wish any injuries. That's for sure.
that could really hurt the poor guy. Like, you know, we don't want to do that. So I mean, but I talked to Pablo. I talked to him from the 5 Point Play podcast. Had him on the show, as a matter of fact. But I told him, I said, listen, if we put Drake Powell on Cooper, I think he's going to shut Cooper down. Like, I think
he'll hold his own.
I think Cooper is going to get shut down a lot this year. I truly believe that. Good player. I'm not denying the fact that he's a good player, but everybody is making it seem like he's King James. Like, and I don't like King James. Sorry, I know you do, Riley.
I do. I love. Yeah, that's my guy. I love LeBron. But
I know. That's another topic. That's another topic for later or whatever. Like, I can't with
we
you.
can discuss that next time, man. We can discuss that next time.
Yeah, we'll discuss that next time. But that's all I'm saying about Cooper, man. Like,
all right. You make your case better than I would have expected. I still think there's a very good chance he's going to be special. But you know, you mentioned Jalen Withers being defensive minded. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I don't think we're going to be like, oh yeah, Jalen Withers lockdown performance on Cooper Flagg. However, Withers is like 25 years old and has some grown man strength to where I'm like, okay, he could probably frustrate him, hopefully a little bit. I do think it's kind of dumb when Duke fans are just completely clowning that matchup. And again, I say this as someone like, I mentioned Withers' turnovers. I know he had mental lapses kind of throughout his career, but you can't teach experience. Dude's in a 6 year of college ball, and I think he can. I'm not saying I want to see him on Coop the whole game, but you know, in stretches, he could probably hold his own. And yeah, I think Drake is the key. Shoot, am I crazy to say like throw Seth Trimble on him for a little bit? Seth plays bigger than 6'3".
You might be a little crazy on that. One. Steph, he's 6'3", up against 6'8",
6'9".
6'9". Oh my goodness, that makes it even worse. Yeah, nah, we can't do that, Riley. We can't do that. Fine. Yeah, you can give me Drake, and just so you know, just let me make sure that what I'm saying is right here, because I want to make sure that I'm clear when I say this. But Jalen Washington and Jalen Withers have both gained an extra 5 pounds.
Oh, okay. I don't want to see any part of Jalen Washington on Cooper Flagg. I thought that's what you were going at. That
No,
scares me.
no.
I was gonna say Zell, please.
I just wanted to throw that out there that they did both gain 5 pounds, which is major. Like Jay Witt, I'm telling you, I'm trying to tell you, it's gonna be crazy or whatever. It's gonna be crazy. I meant to ask you I meant to ask you a question earlier, and I forgot all about it. So we'll run through it real quick. Who is your X factor for the team this year? Back to Carolina, right quick. Who's your X factor?
Man, that's a good question. I think it's got to be Elliott. Are the shooting flashes we've seen this preseason, whether it was that alumni scrimmage, or like the workout videos we're seeing of him, are the shooting flashes real? Can that translate to being like just be a 35% shooter? I mean, I say just that. You got to double the percentage from last year, but yeah, if he can do that, this team has some real juice, and they're just gonna be a lot easier to stop if he's still either hesitant to shoot or still like a in the if he's in the 20s, yeah, that's not gonna be good.
Yeah. I'm torn, and I don't know. I don't know who I got, but I'm torn between Tyson, because Ian's gonna be Ian, RJ's gonna be RJ, Elliott is gonna be Elliott, Jay Wash is gonna be him. I think it's Jay Witt. I'm just gonna say it. I think it's Jay Witt. I think he's gonna be the X factor this year. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I think a lot of it is going to, from what I heard about the way that he felt last year after the game, like after that Alabama game, like dude was not happy. So I think that's gonna show on the court this year. I think, like I said, I think it's gonna be more so defense than his offense. So
for sure, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So, and he gaining some weight too. I mean, he gonna be dangerous, man. He is going to. He gonna be dangerous defensively. So we're gonna wait. We gonna see or whatever. So, listen, man. Riley, it's a pleasure. It's an honor, my guy. You know, anytime that you want to stop through the Zell Dome and chop it up a little bit, you know, even if we don't talk no UNC, we can talk a little bit, but then we can get into a little bit of hip hop if you want to do that. You know, we can mix it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and bring some games or whatever. Like, you know,
I got you. Like
you do with them over there. Like, you know, Greg Carter. Listen, man, I salute you guys though, man. Like, for real. Like, I rock with Greg and Carter for sure. I gotta get up with him. So.
For sure. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. It was fun being here. I'm impressed already that you're, just committing to it and getting off the ground. And, I'll try to do my best to profile the show as well, or platform it rather. And yeah, hopefully it'd be cool to see it keep growing and everything. So I know clearly you got the commitment to it. So it's a fun show, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, make sure tell everybody where they can find you at, of course. Once again.
Give me a follow on Twitter, Riley_Davis3. Subscribe to the Sleepers Media YouTube channel. Watch the pod as the roof. It's about to come back. Yeah, follow me on Twitter for any more updates.
That is my guy, Riley Davis, everybody. Like the infamous Riley Davis. Like, he was here. So just so y'all know, he was here. Finally, I got him here. So... And he will be back for sure. We're gonna make sure we set some things up, because I know the people want to see me, you, and Pablo and AC probably go back and forth with each other. 2 UNC versus 2 Dukes. That's gonna be very exciting. I can't wait for that. Can't wait for the season. It's gonna be a great season. So we gonna set that up. We're gonna definitely set that up. So all of Riley's information will be in the description below. So, make sure y'all reach out to him, say hi, create your own list. if you want to, as far as some greats, and put him on that list. Make sure you do that. Make Riley feel at home. You know what I'm saying? Mi casa, su casa. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But once again, man, I appreciate you stopping through or whatever. And of course, to all of the fans, you know, this is what we do here. So till then, we're gonna rock out. And I'll see everybody tomorrow.